Have you ever wondered what makes a man, despite meeting countless women, remember only one for the rest of his life? It is not always dazzling beauty nor merely refined outward charm. What he cannot forget often comes from a kind of energy, hard to name, a silent yet powerful magnetism that makes him feel, here I found something I could not find anywhere else. Carl Jung once believed that a woman's true power does not lie in what she tries to prove, but in the subtle hidden energies radiating from within. When that feminine energy is awakened, it not only captivates a man in fleeting moments, but also makes him long for a lasting bond, seeing you as the only one he wants to walk beside throughout his life journey. In today's video, we will explore 7 secrets of feminine energy, things that may seem small, but have the power to engrave themselves into a man's subconscious. These are not tricks or fleeting techniques, but core qualities that make you the natural center of love, a center that cannot be replaced or exchanged. Are you ready to step into the journey of discovering these 7 secrets? Number 1, whole presence. When you truly show up in the moment. Have you ever sat next to someone yet felt as if they were miles away? They nod, they smile, sometimes reply with a few words, but their eyes wander, their hands constantly scrolling their phone, and you know they are not really there. With you, that feeling is both hollow and aching. For more than anything else, humans long to be seen, heard, and acknowledged in another's presence. Interestingly, men who often hide their emotions behind a mask of strength are even more sensitive to this. He may know hundreds of people, meet countless women, but he will never forget the woman who made him feel fully present, not because she spoke more, not because she was more beautiful than the rest, but because in that moment he felt, I am truly seen. Carl Jung once wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When a woman can place her mind firmly in the present moment, not running to the past, not rushing to the future, she is not only present with him, but also with herself. And that creates irresistible magnetism, for wholeness always transmits a frequency that makes others feel safe, want to pause and want to stay close. I once heard a man share an experience he never forgot. During an ordinary coffee date, he suddenly spoke about his childhood dreams, something he had never opened up to anyone before. The woman across from him didn't interrupt, didn't interject, didn't rush to give advice. She simply listened in silence, her eyes following his story with genuine attention. That very moment engraved itself into his heart. For the first time he felt truly understood, and that feeling was so strong that afterward he no longer wished to search or date anyone else. You see, what creates magnetism is not dazzling beauty or clever tactics, but complete presence, the very thing that carves itself deep into a man's subconscious, because most of a man's life revolves around doing, achieving, proving, carrying responsibilities. In that world, he is rarely allowed simply to be, to exist without judgment, without comparison. When beside a woman who is wholly present, he experiences a rare, safe space where he does not need to prove, does not need to be perfect, only needs to be himself. The woman's presence becomes a mirror, reflecting the depths of his unconscious, where he yearns for connection but has never dared reveal. Whole presence is like a candle placed in the middle of a dark room. It does not shout, does not call, does not try to light everything, but simply by shining quietly, the whole room turns toward it. A present woman is the same. She does not need to shout for attention. It is her focus, her listening, her living each moment that makes her the natural center. Imagine this. One late afternoon, he comes home after a long, tiring day. He starts talking about work pressures, misunderstandings with colleagues. You have two choices. One half listen while scrolling your phone, throwing in the occasional aha or two, put everything down, sit across from him, look into his eyes and let him see you are truly listening. Just one small action. But the difference is immense. In the first choice, he feels alone. In the second, he feels cherished. And that he will never forget. If you want to cultivate presence, start small. When conversing, try holding the other's gaze for at least 5 seconds before replying when listening. Instead of planning your answer, let your mind be empty and receive what is said. When alone, drink a cup of tea without doing anything else. Just feel the taste, the warmth, the silence. These little things gradually form an inner state so that when you are beside a man, your presence naturally radiates without effort. Feminine magnetism does not lie in what you try to perform, but in the state of truly showing up. When you are fully present, you not only let a man see you, but also let him see himself in you. And that is why he will consider you the only one. And once you learn to be present, a new question arises. How can presence not just stop at listening, but also awaken the deepest part of a man's heart? The primal side. He rarely touches himself. That is the second secret we will discover. Primal femininity. When you honor intuition and emotion. Number 2, primal femininity. When you honor intuition and emotion, there is something strange men cannot explain. Why a simple smile, a fleeting touch, or a sincere gaze from a woman can stay with them forever. This is not prepared charm nor a strategy to impress, but something flowing from within, a primal current of emotion and intuition in the collective unconscious. Carl Jung called this the image of the anima, the living feminine archetype in a man's psyche, forever linked to mystery, emotion, and intuition. When a woman truly connects with this primal femininity, she does not need to strive to be special. Her natural energy touches a very deep place in the male subconscious. What makes the difference is not how a woman performs, but how she honors her own feelings. Many women are used to suppressing, swallowing tears when they want to cry, smiling when they feel anxious, nodding yes while their heart screams no. But once a woman dares to let her emotions be acknowledged instead of strangled, she becomes more alive. And that aliveness itself is the magnetism men cannot explain. Picture a simple dinner. The woman sits there, not trying to tell jokes to entertain, not trying to create a fake, perfect atmosphere. She allows herself to truly taste the food. A smile comes naturally when something amuses her, and her eyes brighten when she speaks about a personal passion. This authenticity in connecting with her feelings creates a space where the man feels invited, not needing to posture, not needing to act, only to exist. A man once shared with the channel that he could never forget a brief moment after a terrible workday, before he could say anything. Just as he sat down, the woman across from him gently placed her hand over his and asked, "You seem tired, don't you?" Such a simple question, but it came at the exact right moment, as if she had read his mood before he spoke. That empathy came not from logic but from intuition, and for him it was more powerful than any advice. Primal femininity is also the ability to live with your true feelings without shame or fear. When you are joyful, you allow yourself to laugh wholeheartedly. When you are sad, you do not fear, letting your eyes weep. When you love, you do not hide your tenderness. This primal nature makes you like a free, flowing river, never dammed, ever fresh and magnetic. Men so accustomed to controlling and imprisoning emotions are enchanted by this freedom, like a thirsty traveler reaching for cool water. Think of a primeval forest. It does not need to be manicured to be beautiful. nor tended to become perfect. Its wildness, rawness, and natural state draw people in. A woman is the same. When she allows herself to connect with this primal side, she becomes a living space where a man feels he is touching a part of himself, a part long hidden. Carl Jung once noted that the image of woman in a man's mind is not just a specific person, but a symbol, a gateway into his unconscious. When a woman lives true to her intuition and primal emotion, she awakens that image, revives his. That is why a sincere smile, an eye glimmering with feeling, may engrave itself deeper in his memory than any physical beauty. If part 1, whole presence, is the candle glowing in a room, then part 2, primal femininity, is the soft breeze that makes that candle dance alive. A present woman may not necessarily be magnetic if she does not dare live her feelings, but when presence and primality intertwine, she becomes the natural center of a man's psyche without competing, without being replaceable. The magnetism of primal femininity may be so subtle that a man does not notice it at first, but later when he recalls, he remembers the unforced smile, the eyes lighting up at something small, or the tenderness in a moment of weakness. These fragments, once etched into the unconscious, become the very things that draw him back again and again. If you have felt the power of this primal femininity, press like on the video to support and the message. Every like is not just encouragement for us, but also a way for more women to find and awaken the natural energy already waiting within them. Number 3, the mystery that keeps the flame when you do not become predictable. There is a paradox men rarely admit. What they desire most is not what they already have, but precisely what they cannot fully grasp. A fleeting glance he cannot decode, a smile with hidden meaning, a pause that seems to contain an untold story. All of these drive a man to move closer, to discover more. It is mystery that makes him realize you are never a fleeting choice, but the one he wants to spend a lifetime uncovering. In psychology, this phenomenon is known as the zygic effect. The brain tends to remember unfinished things. When a woman keeps a little space for herself, not revealing everything at once, she becomes an unfinished novel. With every encounter, the man feels as if he's reading another chapter, but many pages remain closed. It is this sense of incompleteness that keeps him returning. This is not manipulation, but the natural magnetism of a deep inner world, one with many layers no one has yet touched. Greta Garbo, the legendary Hollywood actress, embodied this mysterious magnetism. She was famous not only for her beauty and talent, but for the silence and distance she always maintained. Her phrase, "I want to be alone," became a symbol of a unique lifestyle no one could fully reach. That reservedness did not make her distant, but instead made the public and the men in her life endlessly long to discover more. Garbo proved that mystery is not a game, but honesty with a deep inner world, a realm others can only enter layer by layer, never in its entirety. In real life, some women leave a lasting impression on men simply through the way they keep a little quiet space for themselves. I once witnessed an ordinary date. When the man curiously asked about her future plans, the woman just smiled and softly said she was pursuing a few interesting things lately, but it wasn't the right time to share the details. That response didn't create distance, but instead felt like a gently closed door, leaving the man curious. He didn't know exactly what she was nurturing, but he felt drawn to stay longer to find out. By stopping at the right moment, she made him realize she was not someone who could be fully known in one conversation, but an entire world, requiring patience and genuine love to enter. Mystery in feminine energy is not fake silence or flirtatious baiting. True mystery comes from richness within, passions, dreams, reflections, and silences you keep for yourself. you do not rush to give everything away because your inner world is too vast to be displayed all at once. Think of a piece of music. If all melodies, climaxes, and pauses were revealed in the first minute, the listener would soon feel complete and just as quickly forget. But a great song knows how to leave spaces so the listener feels both satisfied and yearning, always wanting to hear again. A mysterious woman is the same. It is the pauses, the silences in your presence that make a man feel there is always more to explore, and that is why he doesn't want to leave. In love, mystery keeps the relationship alive. If you reveal every fear, every wound, every personal story at the very beginning, a man may feel close, but also as if he has finished reading you. In contrast, when you let love unfold layer by layer, he feels part of an adventure, an endless discovery, and it is that very journey that nurtures passion, making him see you not just as a woman in his life, but as a whole world he wants to step into forever. Carl Jung once wrote, "The most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a sense of security and calm that is not easily disturbed." Applied to relationships, this means the sweet tension of incompleteness. Mystery creates a deep connection. It makes a man both desire and feel safe, knowing he is with a woman who always has more depths for him to explore. And this mystery is one of the feminine energy secrets that makes him see you as the only choice. Number 4, authenticity. When you do not perform to be loved, if mystery creates the magnetism that keeps love fresh, authenticity is what makes the relationship endure. A love based only on mystery can turn into distance. But when mystery combines with authenticity, a man both longs to know more and feels safe to stay. Authenticity makes him realize you are not only captivating in fleeting moments, but also the woman he wants to journey with for life. In modern society, many women unconsciously wear masks. The mask of the perfect, gentle woman who always pleases, the mask of the strong woman who never shows weakness, or the mask of the alluring woman who must always be exciting to hold a man's attention. These masks may create a first impression, but they also build walls. For when he reaches out, he touches only performance, not your real heart. Carl Jung emphasized that the human journey is to move from persona, the social mask, to the self, the whole true being. In love, this is even more true. When you let go of roles and dare to show up as you are, you not only move closer to the self, but also give a man the chance to love a real person. Authenticity does not mean exposing everything. It means that when you are happy, you laugh wholeheartedly. When you are sad, you allow your tears. When you are afraid, you admit your vulnerability. That authenticity does not make you less attractive. On the contrary, it makes you more alive, approachable, unforgettable. In a Jungian therapy session, a woman in a long-term relationship shared her story. She was used to always being strong so as not to be seen as difficult. But one day, after a stressful workday, when her boyfriend asked how she was, instead of saying, "I'm fine as usual," she said, "Today I am truly exhausted and afraid I'm not good enough." Tears followed. Contrary to her fear, the man simply held her and admitted he too often felt inadequate. In that moment, they were no longer two people maintaining impressions, but two humans truly meeting. Men, no matter how strong outside, inwardly long for real connection. When you dare remove your mask, you invite him to drop his armor too. Your authenticity becomes an invitation for him to be himself, and only then does love become a safe haven. Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." For women in love, this privilege is even greater. When you are yourself, you no longer obsess about holding on to a man because he will feel the magnetism of your wholeness, a magnetism beyond technique or facade. Authenticity in love is like a clear mirror. When you dare to show up as yourself, the man sees his real self reflected. And it is this reflection that makes love a soul connection, not just surface attraction. But to be authentic, you must face your deepest fear, that if someone sees your true self, they will leave. That fear makes many women act roles. Yet, paradoxically, when you act, you are more likely to be left. Men may be drawn to an image, but they cannot commit long-term to a performance. Conversely, when you dare live truly, you may lose those seeking only perfection, but you will keep those who are truly worthy. A lasting relationship is not where you always must be strong or entertaining, but where you can be yourself freely. When you are sad, you can say you are sad. When afraid, you can share your fear. When you dream, you can reveal it. Without fear of ridicule, this openness is the foundation for a man to see you as his only choice. Because with you, he can love truly, not a role. So we arrive at the fourth secret: authenticity, the foundation of all lasting connections. Let me pause to thank you for being fully present in this journey. Before moving on, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, and listen to the most real feeling flowing in your heart. If these words resonate, leave just one word in the comments: authenticity. Sometimes a single word is enough to be a reminder, a seed of change within you, and perhaps inspiration for someone else who needs it. And once you've touched authenticity, a new door opens. If you not only live true in relationships, but also know how to balance giving and holding back, you'll discover another feminine secret: knowing when to give and when to keep, so that a man longs to be part of your life. Number 5, knowing when to give and when to keep. When you allow a man the chance to give, one of the greatest paradoxes in love is this: the more a woman tries to give everything, do everything, the more distant a man can become. On the other hand, when she knows to pause, to keep a little space and give him the chance to give, he becomes more eager to stay. This is not a power game, but the natural dance of feminine and masculine energy, the interplay of opposites. Carl Jung described as balance between activity and receptivity. By nature, masculine energy is about direction, conquest, building. It needs a place to channel strength, to prove worth. Feminine energy, in contrast, is about receiving, nurturing, softening. When a woman shoulders everything, doing for a man what he should do, she unintentionally takes away his role. He may admire her strength, but he cannot find space to prove his love. The relationship loses balance. The woman is exhausted. The man grows distant. In Jungian psychology, love is not two egos fighting for control, but two opposing energies meeting and enriching each other. Masculinity is awakened when a man can give. Femininity becomes alive when it knows how to receive. Giving and keeping create the cycle that nourishes love. Keeping does not mean rejecting nor being passive. It means knowing when to pause so you don't give so much that you're depleted. And so he has the chance to step in with his initiative. Giving, conversely, is when you dare open your heart, gentle and trusting, allowing him into your life. When these combine, love becomes synergy instead of burden. I once heard a married man of over 10 years share: what kept him faithful was not his wife's total sacrifice, but the way she let him be a man. At home, she didn't take on everything, didn't impose, but let him have responsibility and joy in caring for his family. When the light bulb broke, she didn't climb the ladder herself, she waited for him. When she felt insecure, she shared and let him hold her. These small things made him feel valued and that he belonged. He said, "She gave me the feeling I'm the only man who can do that for her. To practice knowing when to give and when to keep, start small. Instead of controlling everything, try trusting and leaving a part to him at dinner. Instead of always choosing the place, let him decide. When facing hardship, instead of silently handling it alone, say, "I need you." Such words don't weaken you, they make him feel trusted. That trust feeds his masculine self and strengthens love. This also helps a woman keep inner balance. When you take on everything, you easily burn out, but when you keep some space for yourself, you preserve energy to nourish yourself and shine. Feminine power does not come from doing it all, but from being the place where a man longs to give. And perhaps this is the secret that makes a man see you as his only choice. Deep down, he doesn't seek an all-powerful woman, but one who makes him his strongest, fullest self. When you know how to give and keep, you become both companion and inspiration. You make him feel that with you, he can give more, grow more, and that is why he would never trade you for anyone else. Number 6, healing energy. When your gentleness lets him remove his armor. In love, men often wear armor that seems unbreakable. They show strength, coldness, sometimes even pretend not to need anyone. But behind it lie many wounds, childhood lacking affection, fear of rejection, or pressure to always succeed. The more they hide, the more those wounds control behavior from the shadows. Carl Jung called this the shadow. In everyone there are parts rejected, pushed into the unconscious, out of fear or shame. Men often lock their softness there, believing if it shows, they'll lose respect. But the shadow never disappears. It waits to rise, sometimes surfacing as sudden anger, cold silence, or emotional avoidance. What few know is that feminine gentleness is the key to unlock this door. A light touch, a non-judging gaze, a word of understanding can let a man exhale after years of tension. In that gentleness, he feels safe, that he doesn't have to be a hero all the time, that he can show his most fragile side without fear of ridicule. I once saw a couple at a cafe. The man looked tense, eyes down. The woman beside him didn't scold. She simply placed her hand gently over his and smiled softly. Within minutes, his shoulders dropped. Then he began sharing about work pressures he had never dared speak of. In that moment, his armor cracked, and her non-judging tenderness opened the door for him to step out of. Darkness, the healing power of feminine energy, doesn't come from advice or logic, but from presence filled with empathy. When a man feels seen without judgment, heard without pressure, his wounds begin to melt, Jung emphasized. The shadow can only be released when brought to light and accepted. A gentle woman is the mirror reflecting that light. This does not mean women must turn themselves into professional healers. Healing is not fixing, but creating safe space for the other to open. Sometimes your quiet presence without demands is enough for him to feel allowed to be himself. Paradoxically, it is when you stop trying to change him that he begins to change. In reality, many women lose this power out of impatience. When he is silent, they ask, "Do you even care about me if you never share?" When he is weak, they exclaim, "I never thought you'd be like this." Such words, though seeking closeness, make him retreat further. In contrast, if a woman patiently stays in silence, offering arms instead of reproach, he gradually learns to trust. Think of gentleness like morning, sunlight, not harsh, not rushed, but seeping in little by little, warming places long frozen. At first a man may stay closed, but over time the warmth dissolves fear, letting his truest self emerge. Once he feels that safety, he never forgets. A man may be attracted to beauty, but what makes him stay is this healing feeling. Jung once wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." A woman's gentleness is like a small lamp. It doesn't banish all darkness, but shines enough for him to dare step out to nurture healing energy. Learn to listen without interrupting. When he speaks, resist rushing to solutions. Just show him you're really there. Let touch carry meaning. A hug, a hand in his may heal more than 1,000 words. Most of all, let him know that vulnerability does not lower your respect, but raises it, because you get to see his truest self. When you do this, you not only help him remove his armor, but also build a stronger bond. For true love is not two people always strong, but two who dare be weak before each other. And when a man can be vulnerable with you, he will never want anyone else instead. If you have ever had such a healing moment when one small act of gentleness, let a man drop his armor, share it in the comments. Perhaps your story will be the light that helps someone out there find trust and deeper connection in love. Number 7, living in wholeness when joy comes from within. After exploring healing energy where your gentleness helps a man drop his armor, a deeper layer opens. If you only focus on healing others, love easily becomes a burden. What keeps love not only safe but flourishing is when you live in wholeness. For a whole woman does not seek a man to patch her holes, but invites him to co-create. In Jungian psychology, this journey is called individuation, the process of returning to the true self. Its destination is the self, the whole being. When a woman reaches this state, she no longer sees love as medicine to rescue her, but as a sky to share joy. That joy must first come from within her. In modern life, many women think, when I have a man who loves me, when I have a family, when work is stable, then I'll be happy. But that lack makes them put too many expectations on love, and when he cannot fill them, love becomes disappointment. Conversely, a whole woman does not place that burden on anyone else. She nurtures joy from work, friends, and personal passions. When she meets a man, he does not feel pulled into a black hole to fill, but invited into a blooming garden. I once knew such a woman. She was an architect, financially independent, loved her creative work, maintained close friends for travel, practiced yoga, and cooked on weekends. When she met her partner, she did not enter love needing to be rescued. Instead, she said, I'm happy with my life as it is. If you want to join me, I welcome it. If not, I'm still fine. That calmness made him realize she didn't need him to be complete, but her wholeness made him long to belong. Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. When a woman dares accept and embrace herself, she finds fullness within. Then she enters love not to fill emptiness, but to multiply joy. And paradoxically, when you don't need a man to be happy, that is when he realizes you cannot be replaced. A whole woman is like a fresh spring. Whether people come or go, it still flows, nourishing itself and everything around. When a man comes, he does not feel burdened to create her joy, but happy to drink from it. In Perlsbuck's novel East Wind, West Wind, there is a woman with a serene, unassuming beauty. She finds joy in farm work, in caring for her small home, in simple daily moments. When a man enters her life, he does not see a weak woman needing rescue, but a source of peace he longs to stay with. That is the power of wholeness, unshowy, unscreaming, yet making a man want to stay forever. But wholeness is not always radiant joy. Sometimes it is simply the ability to sit with yourself, read a book, brew tea, take a walk alone, and feel peace. It is not panicking in solitude, but joy, nourished from within, not waiting for someone else to fill. With this joy, love is no longer the need to have someone, but the choice to be with someone. Jung emphasized that only when people reach the self, the whole being, do they stop obsessing over the external. For women, when you are whole, you no longer ask, does he love me? Does he choose me? Because you have already chosen yourself. And that is when a man feels a completeness that he cannot walk away from. In conclusion, wholeness does not mean perfection. It means knowing how to find joy even alone. When you enter love from that state, you don't cling to a man out of fear of loss, but invite him with the richness of your soul. And that is the final secret of feminine energy, the secret that makes him see you not just as an option, but the only one he wants to walk with for life. A woman who embodies these 7 secrets of feminine energy is like a quiet artisan in a rushing world. She doesn't need to paint herself perfect, nor exhaust herself proving worth. Every experience, joy, challenge, even moments of weakness becomes a mark of her unique magnetism, making her irreplaceable. And if you have ever wondered why are there men who after many loves remember only one woman forever, the answer lies in how she lived fully with these 7 qualities: presence, primal femininity, mystery, authenticity, balance of giving and keeping, healing, power and inner wholeness. That is what makes love with her. Not just fleeting passion, but a lasting journey. If this video has helped you understand the secrets of feminine energy and inspired you to connect more deeply with yourself, share it with other women. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to continue joining us in future explorations. This is not the path to becoming a perfect replica, but to discovering your own radiant, unique self.